Susie Homesteader of the Rockies, and welcome to the Susie Homesteader channel. And today we're going to be talking about our fitness subject and how to start detoxifying your body to get ready to start getting in shape. So one of the fastest ways to do that and the easiest way to start detoxifying your body is with wheatgrass juice. And this has been known for a very, very long time. Also known that it just doesn't taste good, and that's kind of the way it goes with things that are good for you. But there's two ways that you can start your whole process, and one of the more expensive but faster ways is just to go get a powder like this one. This is from Garden of Life. This is an alkalizer and detoxifier. So this has more than wheatgrass juice in it. It also has some other vegetables. It has fruit. It has herbs. It has all kinds of great ingredients in that. But this is what that will look like when you take the scoop out of the canister and add as much water as you have to be able to find the texture you need to drink that. But that is what that looks like, which is a much larger amount because there's a lot more ingredients in that as well. Now this one does not taste so bad, but you will have to drink more of it to get the same properties that you would get if you took your own wheatgrass that you grow and cut it off and then juice it in a couple of different methods that I'll tell you about in a minute. But on the wheatgrass, the raw wheatgrass, you're looking for about 1 to 4 ounces of that per day, and that's why they call it wheatgrass shots, because it's pretty much the equivalent of a shot glass that you can do. And I would not recommend starting out with 4 ounces in the beginning. It depends on how toxic you think your body is. Preferably 1 ounce to start with is the way to go, and then work your way up, maybe weekly or daily, depending on how you feel. And if you do drink too much of it, you'll know, because you're going to feel a little bit nauseous. So again, not a good idea to do after you have a hangover, because that's really asking for it. But it will detoxify you. It's also an anti-inflammatory, supposedly an anti-cancer, supposedly helps you get, or helps you from getting more gray hair. I haven't tried that yet. It is a anti-ager. It helps with digestion, helps with anemia, gives you tons of energy, which is the main result that I see from it. Clear skin, you name it. There's about a dozen beneficial properties to drinking wheatgrass juice as often as you can. So if you're going to start growing this at home, instead of doing the powder, you want to start with like a seed packet that looks kind of similar to this. You can get this at a nursery, which is actually where I bought mine, or a health food store. But it is a wheatgrass seed that you're looking for. And you're going to plant that in either several flats or a bucket or any kind of a container where it can spread and continue to grow. I do start mine indoors in the winter in my little mini greenhouse that I have set up in the house. And then from there, I take it out to the greenhouse right about now, which is, May or April, May, and start putting it into some bigger containers into soil, which will just keep it growing faster. And of course, you want as much of that wheatgrass as you can, because every time you cut some, depending on how fast you're consuming it, you want to have some backup wheatgrass that's already come in, so that every time you cut some of it, you have some kind of a reserve while the stuff you cut is continuing to grow again. So this is about a 2-week length of wheatgrass, and supposedly if you cut it after this, the gluten properties in wheatgrass start to develop. So if you have some gluten issues, apparently if you do that within the 2 weeks of growth, first 2 weeks of growth, you don't get as much of the gluten in there. But the idea is definitely to grow your wheatgrass, cut it, juice it, and drink it as fast as you can, and not even like past a 10 or 15 minute period if you want the full properties of that. So it's a fast process if you want the full potential, And again, just if you're feeling nauseous, back off, but you do want to try and consume that on an empty stomach. So if you add food to it, again, like anything you take that's good for you, you're going to lose some of those nutrients in the food that's in your stomach. So try and do it, at least an hour or two away from food. And there's a couple different ways that you can actually juice that. This was the cheapest way that I started with, which is just a manual juicer. That is just pretty much like a meat grinder, except it's got a little smaller filter in there, and it's designed just for wheatgrass. It does work. It's not my favorite method because it tends to leak, and it does tend to get a little bunched up in there. So this is the cheapest method of juicing, but probably not the most ideal. And then there's another way you can do this. If you have a blender, just get a blender. You're going to have to add water to this because it's going to get all bunched up in your blender too. And it'll plug it up. So you have to just add as much water as you can to make sure that it does not turn into a big blob. And then on that, you can use a mesh strainer or cheesecloth even if you want to separate the pulp. And when you pour it out of this, the pulp is fine to eat or drink, but you will not get... it'll be a slower release if you drink it with the pulp in it into your system. So ideally you want to drink just the juice without the pulp, and it'll be a faster release into your system because your body will assimilate that easier. So with or without the pulp on the blender. And then if you want to use an actual juicer, which I have just this old Breville model that I use for all my other vegetables and fruit, you can do that too, but again, you're going to have the same issue of that bunching up in there because it's really not designed for a grass. But I found a way to beat that, and that is if you can just add vegetables to the wheatgrass while you're doing it. So maybe put in a bunch of asparagus and a little bit of tomatoes, and then throw in a little wheatgrass at the same time that you're juicing these other vegetables, and it doesn't seem to bunch up as bad or plug it all up. So if you use other vegetables with this at the same time, you will get a different ingredient and different tastes, but it will work. This is really my favorite way to do it. And then of course they make wheatgrass juicers just for wheatgrass, but you will be starting at a couple $100 to start with to buy one of those. I haven't bought one yet because I just didn't want to spend the money, but I do know they're ideal just for wheatgrass juicing, and you'll see those like in commercial places that do just wheatgrass juice or vegetable juices. They'll have those special kinds that are just better for grass or any kind of a coarser vegetable like that. So lots of ways to juice your wheatgrass. My favorite, again, like I said, is this vegetable juicer because you can mix other stuff with it. But I personally like to just get it over with and just drink that wheatgrass juice as fast as you can. My kids' method with like this powdered version of it, which, like I said, I only have 1 out of 4 kids that I can make drink it. But if they plug their nose, they're good. So you might have to try that one too. Anything you can do to drink it, just get it down. It's not as bad as apple cider vinegar, I promise you that. If you've ever had apple cider vinegar or a shot of whiskey, trust me, you can do wheatgrass juice. So plug your nose, do whatever you gotta do, just get it down. Barley grass is another great antioxidant juice. Beet juice, carrot juice, all kinds of great juicing vegetables to really, really detox and benefit you in many, many ways. So if you have any other questions on this, come and see me at Susie Homesteader of the Rockies, where I'll have a complete supply list for you, and also a place for you to shop for any of the items that I come up with. Now, I want to show you one thing I found at a thrift store yesterday, and I haven't tried it yet, but I will let you know how it works out. But this is some Easy Green Auto Sprouter. So I have no idea what it is, but I'll let you know when I find out. I paid a whole $3 for it, which I am super proud of. And I think the idea on this one is that it probably just expedites the germination process, because I think what it is really just a way to trap in the humidity and the moisture for seeds. So again, I just picked this up yesterday. I'm going to look online for more ways to grow wheatgrass that might just make the germination process go faster. But I think that's what this is, and if anybody knows more about that, let me know. But I'll tell you how that goes. And again, they call it liquid gold, and I call it pond muck. But here you go. So, asante, and good luck. Vita Veggie Vitamin. Blech.
It's so tasty, too. It's just like candy.
Let's get started. Subscribe to the Susie Homesteader channel, and we'll see you there. Bye-bye.